as you just segued, that does kind of lead us right into those tweets from Eleanor Tourette today. So she frequently does cover SEC crypto cases and things like that. And she updated what is going on with the SEC and why some popular lawsuits like Coinbase, Kraken, Ripple, why they are delayed and things like that right now. And to answer, like we were talking about this, but you said like, why is she not talking about Richard Hart and stuff? I just don't think it's one that's going to go on her radar. Like she's just going to talk about like the big entities. You know, Richard's like a guy, you know what I mean? And they try to act like obviously Pulse and PulseX are his alter egos or whatever. But these are just, you know, bigger names within crypto that mainstream people are going to understand. And maybe because Richard's an individual, you know, she's just, I'm sure she is aware of it. Like I with as much as she knows, I'm sure she's at least aware of it. And as much as Hexicans like light up her posts every single time she posts. And I know Nuclear Herbs has also talked to her before to say, hey, like you should be covering this. But
yeah,
she says on the SEC Gov, pausing ongoing litigation against crypto firms. I'm told by multiple legal sources that the SEC has been prioritizing cases with imminent court deadlines, which we had one. Well, I guess technically we didn't have a deadline. It's just waiting on her. But it says which is one explanation for why we haven't seen pause requests in the Ripple and Kraken cases. Ripple's next court deadline is April 16th, and it looks like Kraken's is March 31st. The Binance case has been put on ice until April 14th. Don't know what that is. Legilex. I have no idea what that is until April 11th. So whatever the hell that is, and April 11th, and Coinbase plus SEC agreed to an extension on the deadline for the agency to respond to Coinbase's request to leave to file an interlocutory appeal on March 14th. It's possible SEC leadership is expecting Donald Trump's pick for chair Paul Atkins. Now, this is the interesting part that I didn't realize. For Paul Atkins to be on his way to getting confirmed by that time. In the interim, the Crypto Task Force, Congress, and the Presidential Working Group on Digital Assets are presumably working to fill the regulatory gaps that led to these lawsuits being brought in the first place. So I looked down in the comments because I failed to realize, and I guess it should have been obvious, that Paul Atkins being confirmed, you know, needs to happen just like Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, all these other people in different roles have to be confirmed. And I saw in the comments that for reference in 2021, Gary Gensler's didn't happen until April. So I don't know. I mean, we still got maybe a month or two until Atkins is. Here's her. There it is, right there. Is there a date when Paul is due to join the SEC? No concrete date yet. He needs to have the hearing before banking GOP and then get voted on by the full Senate. Not saying the timelines will be the same, but for reference, Gensler had his hearing in March of 21 and was confirmed in April. So I don't know that means we're waiting for that. And that might be another reason that the RH one, I mean, she's never mentioned RH, but another reason that it might not have been mentioned is she was talking about ones that have a specific court deadline coming up. We're in the midst of Judge Carroll, obviously, giving an opinion on the motion to dismiss. So clearly something beyond just her going over the proceedings from that day is going on here. I mean, we are at what 110 days or something since that took place. I mean, I don't think that there's much more that she needs to be looking into. I think it's more so that the de facto SEC right now and the Crypto Task Force are undergoing changes. We're waiting for Paul Atkins to be confirmed. I think it's all of that stuff together. I don't think it's just that she's undecided. So anyway, what do you make of this? I mean, it's interesting that we get a timeline on the Atkins thing anyway. That I was unaware of. But yeah, what do you make of this as far as the other cases and what it could mean for Richards?
Well, so there is no deadline really for us. You know, they say on average, Nuclear Herbs was saying this, that you get a decision between 60 and 90 days. The one thing that I have heard though is usually in the case of a dismissal, they have to be extremely thorough with their response, so that there's no reason to have any kind of blowback based on the decision. There's a lot of case law that has to be looked up and researched and things like that. So if anything, I think the longer we wait, the more bullish it is for this case to get dismissed. Not to mention on top of everything else that's happening, We are small fish in the pond. As you said, Ripple, Kraken, Binance, Coinbase, those guys are going to get the attention, and they're going to get the attention probably first. But I think it's bullish. I mean, I don't really see the delay as being a bad thing, other than we're waiting for something to happen. You know what I mean? That's the bad thing about it, is that we've just been waiting for what seems so long, to hear something, to hear anything from her. But yeah, I mean, hell, I'll wait till April. I really don't care. I mean,
Right.
usually, like I said, the bull market would have started by then. And I hope that it doesn't affect it. It just could be delayed a little bit. I think a lot of this stuff is going to affect the bull run in general. So once you see some of these cases getting thrown out or just dismissed, it could really trigger a lot of good for the bull market. So I think this is completely bullish. I don't see anything negative about it. And again, I'm perfectly fine waiting till April, to have things really start to pop off, when all the dominoes kind of fall into place at that time.
And I don't know that we'll have to be waiting till April. I mean, obviously, Atkins getting confirmed, the sooner the better. But I think that with Hester Pierce and the crypto task force in the meantime, like their whole purpose is to kind of, be able to handle this shit in the meantime.
Right.
I mean, that's what I think Hester's there for. And she seems to be favorable of like better or any crypto policy. So I don't know. I doubt that. I mean, look, I doubt that the RH case has ever been super high on the SEC's priority list. I mean, you could tell by the complaint; it's not good.
Not
The
at all.
judge, the judge basically said it herself. So, I mean, they don't give much of a shit about it. We've always known it was just a shakedown to get money from RH, and that is just probably why these other cases that are big name cases that people write articles about and stuff like that are just kind of higher on their priority list to deal with, I guess. And they do have deadlines, unlike ours right now. So,
sure. Yeah. Some of these have legitimate deadlines, which we don't. We're just waiting for a decision. And I'm curious to know, maybe Nuclear Herbs we'll tweet them or something and ask, but what is the longest that somebody has had to wait for a decision? I know this is very out of character for everything, because of the change in administration and because of the easing up of the rules in general on all digital assets. And there's a lot of things playing in our favor right now that probably haven't happened, but I'm wondering what the longest is for a decision of this nature to be made. I'm curious.
Well, I'm sure you've got so many examples because, if you're talking just broadly any civil cases, I imagine there's something really asinine out there somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a very long period of time. But maybe in terms of SEC specific civil cases, maybe there's something that we could find out there. I'm not sure. But I think this one's just really unique, though, because you don't really have a lot of them where the plaintiff comes back so hard and is just filing to dismiss right away. Usually you're kind of moving on to the next step prior to that. So I mean, maybe there's something you could kind of call a precedent to this, but it's just very unique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That is a good question, though. Yeah, just get an idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, good stuff coming from Eleanor. Be cool if she covered the Richard one as well. But yeah, we'll see. At least we have a timeline about Paul Atkins, and we'll see what happens with those other cases here. So